Working less is supposed to mean caring less. Enjoying more is supposed to mean avoiding responsibility. That's the accusation. The contradiction is that the people accused of checking out are often the ones paying the closest attention to how effort actually gets rewarded. The common story says this trend is about softness, entitlement, or a loss of grit. The quieter reality is less flattering for the world that tells that story. When the payoff for extra effort keeps shrinking, pulling back isn't rebellion, it's calibration, like turning the volume down on a radio that only plays static. People aren't rejecting work itself, they're responding to how the deal has changed. For most of the last century in the US and other wealthy nations, labor followed a simple promise. You put in more hours, take on more stress, climb rung by rung, and life gradually opens up. A bigger apartment, fewer money conversations at the kitchen table, some margin for error. That promise didn't need to be written down because it showed up in ordinary routines. One paycheck could cover rent and groceries. Overtime meant something. Promotions felt tied to effort instead of timing or politics. That arrangement slowly drifted. Output kept rising, but pay flattened. Costs that used to be background noise, housing, healthcare, education, moved to center stage. The workday didn't get shorter to compensate. It stretched. Commutes grew longer. Messages followed people home like an email notification that never clears. The arrangement benefited from people continuing to push even after the math stopped working, the same way a gym benefits when members keep paying long after they stop seeing results. From an economic angle, the current arrangement quietly rewards endurance more than productivity. Long hours signal commitment even when they don't add value. Availability becomes a stand-in for contribution. When labor is abundant and replaceable, there's little incentive to make each hour feel worthwhile. The existence of burned-out workers isn't a glitch, it keeps wages predictable and expectations high. If everyone believes exhaustion is normal, no one asks why the finish line keeps moving. This isn't limited to one country. Across developed economies, younger workers are entering a world where the big purchases their parents made early now require decades of debt. In past industrial periods, when returns on labor fell too low, people didn't suddenly become lazy, they adjusted. They migrated, reduced hours, worked informally, or leaned harder on family networks. Today's version just happens indoors, behind laptops with a polite smile during video calls. Technology accelerates this adjustment in subtle ways. Tools promise to save time, but mostly they shaved the pauses between tasks. Work now seeps into the cracks of the day, like water finding gaps in a tiled floor. At the same time, those same screens offer constant relief. A scroll here, a video there, a delivery arriving before dinner is cold. When effort feels expensive and reward feels distant, immediate comfort starts to look like a reasonable trade. There's also a social layer to this. Public praise still goes to overwork, but private advice has shifted. People quietly warn each other not to give too much. Don't answer too fast. Don't volunteer unless it's visible. Don't burn yourself for a role that can be reposted in a week. The penalty for stepping back is smaller than it used to be, especially when entire peer groups are doing the same. Once enough people stop sprinting, walking no longer looks like failure. Eventually, these pressures land somewhere personal. You feel it when your alarm goes off and your body reacts before your thoughts do. Not dread exactly, more like heaviness, like lifting a grocery bag you already know is packed too tight. The rational part of you understands the task list. The physical part just wants relief. Cortisol stays high, sleep gets lighter, pleasure becomes compressed into small windows at night or on weekends, and those windows fill with things that require nothing from you. Doing less in that state isn't about joy. It's about keeping your nervous system from overheating. You conserve energy the way a phone switches to low power mode when the battery dips into red. The danger is that low power mode isn't meant to be permanent. Stay there too long and ambition atrophies, skills stagnate, days blur together. What began as a smart response to diminishing returns can quietly turn into a smaller life. That's where agency comes back into the picture. Understanding why this pattern emerged doesn't mean staying inside it forever. The same awareness that lets you see why extra effort stopped paying off can help you decide where effort still matters. Not every hour is equal. Not every job deserves the same level of sacrifice. Pulling back blindly can be just as costly as overcommitting without question. The real task is choosing your strain instead of absorbing it by default. That might mean redirecting energy towards skills that travel with you rather than titles that don't. It might mean building financial buffers, even slowly, so enjoyment isn't the only escape valve. It might mean redefining success in ways that don't rely on constant comparison to curated lives online. None of that is easy. It requires attention, planning, and a willingness to tolerate short-term discomfort for longer-term stability. The world didn't suddenly become allergic to effort. It just made effort riskier while pretending it hadn't. Recognizing that mismatch is the first step. The second is refusing to let your entire future be shaped by a temporary coping strategy. You can acknowledge that pulling back helped you survive without letting it decide how you live. All right, that's it for today. If you're looking for more content like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay tuned for what's coming next. Anyway, take care of yourself, and I'll see you soon.